We got turtles versus bandits. We got Ahsoka versus all kinds of troopers. We got Sabine and Ezra versus everybody. But most of all, Thrawn is in control.
Every choice made has led to this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another Ahsoka-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And we are back with Ahsoka Season 1, Episode 7, Dreams and Madness. And I have no idea what dreams and madness refer to in this episode.
Yeah, because no one dreamed.
And there's a lot of
I guess
madness, maybe, if you're talking about like fighting and arguing and...
Yeah, there's a lot of madness, and then I guess the dream would be like, what's his name's dream of what he wants to do in the future?
Balin?
Yeah.
But we didn't get any information about that.
No, that's true. Just hints.
Hey, Falcon from the Discord, who's been like MIA forever, is in the chat.
What up?
What's up, bro?
That's my Falcon.
Living the dream out there on the West Coast. Say hi in the Discord. We miss you, bud. But yeah, I don't know what this title had to do with this episode, but
That's true. I didn't even think about that. Like afterwards, like in the moment when I read it, I'm like, oh, this is intense.
Right.
And everyone was predicting out there, like the theories. Did you see this theory going around that Maul was gonna be revived from the dead with the dark magic?
No.
From the Night Sisters? You didn't see that
did
theory?
not see that. No.
It was like all over the place. And I was like, ooh, that'd be cool.
But I did see the Balin wrist thing. You see that?
No.
With like he has his like wrist, like Apple Watch, on his hand, wrist, and people zoomed in on the Arabic writing on it. It says Luke, Han, Leia, Chewbacca, C-3PO, and Ben on his wrist in Arabic. You didn't see that?
No, but
Theory did a video on it. IGN did a thing on it. I posted in the Discord. Like,
what does that mean?
No one knows. Just that he is aware of all those characters.
Even Ben, he was like probably just born, right?
Yeah, I'm assuming was just born, so he's probably a baby. Unless it refers to Ben, like Obi-Wan Kenobi Ben, but he's dead, so I doubt that. But it's kind of weird. I don't know. Hopefully next week we'll find out, because that's probably the last we're ever going to see of Balin. So,
well, okay, so that's my question. Do you think they're going to kill off his character?
I don't think they're going to kill him off. I think he's going to stay behind on this planet to do what he's pursuing, and they're just going to
forget about him.
Forget about it. But I don't know. We'll get to that later. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yes. But we did have a poll last week so I haven't like gone over like our Q&As and stuff for a while, because like people haven't been posting a lot on them, and a lot of just basic answers that I love people's responses, but sometimes they've been a little basic lately. But I got a Q&A and a poll that we can do some answers for this week in reference to last week. So the Q&A for last week was, how do you feel about the Noti, the turtle people? Do they fit into Star Wars? Garrett says yes. I think they do. Unfortunately, ? We've had Ewoks, Porgs, Lothcats, even Babu Frick is kind of a cute comedy creature. Maybe they'll grow on me. R Green 571 says sequel trilogy should have been about the Noti. Aaliyah says they're awesome. Joshua Andrew says, heck yeah, I just thought it was a little weird that they had clothes, lol. Which was weird. They had weird clothes on. Addie says, okay, this is strictly personal opinion, but I love the little turtle people. I don't know if it's just because I'm a girl that darn cute. They're darn cute to me. Me and my sister nicknamed them little rock guys. Crying face. So cute. Like smiley crying face. It's Night says, I think they're interesting. Helps being find Ezra. I feel like it makes sense that they are there. It's a different galaxy, so rules could be very different. Crystal Robinson says, different galaxies, so would have liked to have seen something different to get that new galaxy feel. The Noti otherwise are very Star Wars. True, we need something different to make it stick out. And Jonathan says, at first I didn't like them, but they fit the cutesy little ally to the good guys. They're very dark crystals. There are so many Lord of the Ring similarities. The Night Sisters Tower looks like Minas Tirith.
Minas Tirith with his.
So people tend to seem to like them. I guess I was just hating on them too much last week.
Well, I think like last week it was kind of like shot out of nowhere, but I feel like this week it kind of fit a little better. I don't know about you, Jeremiah, but I felt it fit in pretty well this week compared to last week. You have a different opinion, or was it kind of the same?
I don't know. I think they
Granted, we didn't really see a lot of them.
they make sense in context of last week. Like if this was like the first episode we got them when like they were doing this, it'd be like, really weird.
My only complaint about this week with them, it was too much Endor feel. Like it was just like very Ewok-y, like throwing rocks, them like trying to squeeze the one by hitting each other. Like it just really felt like we were watching the Ewoks again, but they just weren't as good at fighting. With like the slingshot, it was very much Ewok-y.
Right.
And it kind of took me out. I was like, I feel like it's a little too much. Like, why does every small creature has to be defensive? Like, they literally can't defend themselves.
Because they're tiny, that's why.
Yeah, but and two, like scaredy, and then like throw rocks. Like, I don't know.
Well, if you were a little creature like that, you'd probably do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I had the poll for last week,
Mm.
and I asked, the night troopers are normal troopers, zombie troopers, or normal troopers changed by magic. And so we had 36 people vote. 16.7% said normal troopers. 44.4% said zombie troopers, and 38.9% said normal troopers changed by magic. And based on this episode, they're just normal troopers. I was hoping that they were gonna get like when they died, like
disappear, like poof.
Green smoke would come out of
too.
them or whatever. But nope, I think they just had red duct tape fixing their.
And on top of
stuff.
that too, is like they not been 12 years, they haven't shot their guns. Like, they're horrible. Like, why were those bandits better at fighting than all those troopers? Like, for me, I was just like, okay, there's double the amount of bad guys, and they handled them way easier than the 7 samurais. Like,
Well, Thrawn did say at the end that they performed like the Jedi of old, which means that they're just that good, whatever that means. But definitely, I can see what you're saying, that they were completely surrounded,
and they demolished them. And on top of that, Ezra doesn't want to use a weapon anymore.
No, he just needs the Force.
Sure.
like Force users existed before lightsabers.
True. I wanted to see Ezra
Yeah, the whole episode
with
I
a
thought he was gonna
lightsaber
like
against what's her name?
force
What is
choke everybody and one
Yeah.
hit
So
kill
that
everyone.
Ezra, you know how like there were so many predictions leading into the show that we're gonna see Thrawn and Ezra was gonna be next to him. Super happy, or like not maybe evil Ezra, maybe not. We didn't really know. And Ezra is like complete opposite, where he's like super good guy now, like the best good guy of all possible, like so far, unless he's playing a double game with Thrawn, which would be
I'm starting to have.
super cool.
I don't know if he's
Think
with.
about that.
I doubt he's with Thrawn, but part of me wants to think that what Balin is feeling out there called to him, and there's a searching for it, is Ezra.
Mm.
Like I don't know if Ezra is like fake being a good guy and he's been fully embraced the dark side and he's just playing the game and then Balin is sensing him and being drawn to Ezra, but I don't know. Something
Balin was
Ezra
hoping.
is too at peace.
That's what I mean. That's what I feel. It's like
Like
he's
I
like
get it. If
he's
you're like one
healthy.
with you're like really super in tune with the force and you're like living the quiet life with the turtle people,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's a simpler life and it brings him joy, but
But then he keeps saying that he wants to go home.
yeah, but
So I'm gonna should I just go on how I feel about the episode?
yeah, what are your overall thoughts of this episode?
I thought it was fun. I really liked the episode. A couple things that bothered me was Ezra saying that no, that's your lightsaber, not mine anymore. I gave it to you. I don't want to use it. I don't need it. I just wanted to see him use the lightsaber against those guys.
Right.
The second thing that bothered me was Sabine still not telling Ezra the whole story. Like they're
Right.
traveling, that girl took a nap, and then she comes up and like still didn't tell him what was really going on. Anytime Ezra is like asking more about what the situation, she was just like, why wouldn't you tell him? Like, was her goal just to stay with Ezra
Because to
now?
tell him is to say that I'm basically going to destroy our entire galaxy because Thrawn's going to take
So
over the
she's having
galaxy.
remorse now.
No, she knew that from the beginning that that's what's going to happen,
Well, I get that,
and
but
she's slowly giving him the answers. Like she told him that the rebellion won the war and
well, yeah,
all
yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff. Like so, she's slowly giving information, and eventually she's gonna. Once she thought Ahsoka was dead. So like obviously you don't want to like tell someone that
Yeah.
like if especially if you think it's like your fault because she probably has some blame because she told Ahsoka to go fight Balin.
I'm just trying to put myself in her perspective, and I feel like if I was her and I got there, I'd be like, dude, this is what's happening. Thrawn's still here. We need to get off this planet somehow, or we need to do our best to stop Thrawn. And this is how I got here. Thrawn brought me here. This is the potential threats that we might face right now. And Ahsoka, I'm pretty sure she died, and all this stuff is happening, and we need to figure out how to stop Thrawn right now, just you and me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you would think that would be her perspective. Instead, she's like, you know what? Let Thrawn go to the other galaxy and destroy it. I'm just gonna hang out with Sabine or with Ezra and all these rock friends, and we're just gonna be friends forever and run away. Like, what is that? How is that the outcome that she's portraying? And on top of that, what made me mad was Ezra and Ahsoka's reaction to each other was so much more intense than Sabine and Ezra's reaction to each other.
Yeah,
And like, why? Is it
I don't
because
know.
you
I'd
hear
be
a woman
happier to see
guilt?
Ahsoka than
Well, oh no,
Sabine.
but I'm just saying that's how Sabine should have like been reacting like to Ezra, but and like Ahsoka and Ezra like weren't like as near as close as Sabine and Ezra in Rebels. Like they didn't like interact that much, you know. To have that reaction to Ezra, like, I don't want to miss this reunion, and like hugged him, and they were smiling and laughing and hugged twice. The Ezra, like, I don't know, it kind of took me out of it. I was just like, that's what Sabine and Ezra should have done, like that reaction to each other when they saw each other.
Right.
And on top of that, I just don't understand Sabine's character anymore because it seems like she just wanted to hide. And then when she saw Ahsoka, then she was like, "Wait, actually, maybe we can fight again." Like,
Well, yeah,
like
because she's a Jedi. That's there to. She's OP and she can take them all. Like, of course, like having a Jedi on your side is going to give you a morale boost.
no, I know, but she should have never. Like, I don't know. I feel like she should at least try to sacrifice herself to kill Thrawn with Ezra.
I don't think there's
Like
there's
the
no
rebel.
way. There's no way they would have had any plan. How
No,
would
but I feel like if Ezra would have known that's how she got there and what was happening, don't you think Ezra would have been like, "Let's go do something about this," or try to?
I probably? But it's two people against an entire like
Well,
Star Destroyer with Night Sisters like mothers like.
I'm not saying they're gonna win. I'm just saying it didn't feel like a Sabine scenario to me. Like it just felt like she was like, "I'm okay." Like I don't know. If you really think about it, doesn't don't you think it felt like she just like was willing to give up the galaxy to hang out with this guy that she barely hugged? Like, you know what I mean?
But we already knew that from episode
Yes and no, because
4.
there is that sense in that part in episode 4 where she didn't really have that much of a choice. Like she did, but she really didn't. Like she was gonna shoot the thing, shoot off her hand, because the thing would have blew up in her hand, and then on top of that, still get killed. Like she didn't really have too much of an option, but now she does, and it just feels like she's not. She didn't really
I
want to
feel like she
do
has
that
less of a
situation.
choice now because it's so impossible to even
But talk
have
to
a
him
chance.
about it. Don't you
Huh?
think don't you think her not saying anything and avoiding that is kinda just dumb?
To a certain degree, but not unrealistic.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, it's literally confessing to your friend that I want to save you and now trillions of people are probably going to die because Thrawn returns. Like that's not something you easily want to like say nonchalantly like, "Hey,
Yeah, and, like, maybe that is her having regrets of that situation, and
sure."
her reaction to Ezra maybe is her regretting like, when she saw Ezra, she was like, "Was this actually worth it?"
But
Because even
now
Thrawn said, like, "You're willing to give up the galaxy to save your friend," you know? So, she felt that guilt, so maybe that's why her reaction to him was not near as impactful.
I don't know, I think it's always it's been consistent. She knows the stakes and I don't know if she has. I can't say that she has a regret because she knew the negative from the beginning. Like she knew it was a
I
bad
want you to give
choice.
me something because either
Huh?
I want you to give me something like either say it was a good thing that like she felt regret or she's just being a baby now. Like,
I don't think it's as black and white as that. I think it's she's known what she's been doing this whole time, and
mhm,
I don't think she has a regret, but she knows that a lot of people are gonna die in the main galaxy now. So like, and Thrawn's gonna wreak havoc in one way or another, whatever that looks like. So it's like, but it's just she doesn't want to talk about it because it's a terrible situation, and so
mhm,
I don't think she wants to throw all that weight on Ezra's shoulder
right away.
right away. Because like even last episode, she was like, "Can I just enjoy the fact that we found each other and that we're together again? Like, can I just
The
have that?"
answer to that is no.
And so and
Can't.
she's just slowly getting. But the thing is, now that Ahsoka's there and
Oh
next
yeah,
week's the
I mean,
finale, like it's all gonna.
obviously, yeah.
And they got a ship, so like they can actually do something. Whereas before, I don't think Ezra could get in a Star Destroyer with one of those turtle rock trailer trash trucks, whatever they were. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I think it makes sense.
There's a couple of predictions for next week, and we'll get to that after we go through it all. That I feel like can make this story very interesting.
Right. But my overall thoughts were it was a fun episode. I feel like it felt the most like an episode of Rebels.
Yeah.
Especially the moment that it felt the most that I feel like I saw a million times Rebels was when Ezra was fighting the night troopers and like he grabbed the gun out of the hand like he was still holding onto it and shot the one trooper and ripped it out and started shooting troopers. Like I
Mm-hmm.
saw that 1,000 times by the characters of Rebels,
Mm-hmm.
and like I thought it was just a fun episode, but I thought it was going to be a much deeper episode because it's second from the end. Like
Like it didn't really build up as much as
right,
you would
and
have thought,
so
which is fair because last week's was pretty intense. The week before that was really intense, and then it wasn't a filler episode because we got to see Ahsoka in her like her prime, bro. Like,
in her prime, bro. What?
yeah, this is her prime right now.
I don't know. Episode 5 with those flashbacks. That was her prime right there.
But I really think
And the
this.
fact that she couldn't beat Balin.
I think, but the thing
Dude,
is, compared to the last time she fought Balin, with this time she's using 2 lightsabers again. She just trained with Anakin 10 minutes prior to this whole situation, which was super sick. That scene was amazing. You have to admit that scene was so cool, dude.
I liked it.
I loved it. So like, I don't know. I feel like this is her becoming that Jedi that like there's a next level to her now. I think Balin's a lot stronger than we think he is.
Well, yeah, I think that he was totally right when he said you can't beat me. Like I think there's no way Ahsoka was gonna beat him. Like even with her 2 sabers, like she was like that fight was like a lot faster than their first one.
Mm-hmm.
But like he was still stopping her every time, and then like he caught her hand. It's like you can't beat me. Like, and she's like, perhaps. Like you're right, but I don't have to. And then that's when the ship came and shot.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like I said, I think it was just a fun episode, but it wasn't as deep as I thought it was going to be. But I really liked Thrawn. And here's the thing:
Mm-hmm.
he looked different than he did last week.
I was gonna say, do you think he looked different? Because he looked
I
different
asked
to
that
me.
at Discord. Andrew jumped into Discord and was like talking with people, and he's like, "I agree. He looks different. I don't know what it is. It's just
It is
something
kinda
about
weird.
his chin was different.
Maybe because we didn't see his belly.
I don't know. And it seemed like I don't know if it was like the skin was darker. Like I felt like
Like the lighting was
those
better.
scenes like from last episode and the scenes from this episode, they must have been filmed like months apart, and he like had I don't know 10-pound difference or something like in his body, because that's enough to like thin out your face a little bit or something. I don't know. Like he just looked
Like
different.
water weight.
He
Yeah,
just
I
looked
don't.
different,
He
but he
looked
looked good. Like he looked what I thought he would be in live action.
yeah, and then like I feel like the things that he said in this episode and the way he was planning things, it just seemed more Thrawny for some reason too.
Right.
Like,
I
it wasn't just like one-off lines and like stuff like that. It was like he you're seeing his plan and then you see the whole like the war table and the map and stuff of the battle and stuff, and it just felt like you were watching Thrawn. Like I don't know, there was something about it. You're right, like it just felt better.
right.
So I definitely agree with that. And their technology on this galaxy is so cool. Have you noticed like parts of it that are like different? Like the
Well,
hologram
the
is
hologram
better
I noticed that
last
like
week
first episode, 2 episodes ago, or like the first second episode when they had holograms on on
on
the
that ship.
on the ring.
Yeah,
Like
I didn't really notice it until like this one with the trooper. It just looked better.
it was more. It's more like particles that are like forming.
Yeah, and it's not like glitchy as glitchy and stuff, and it
Right.
just
So
looks better.
they must have that fiber internet or
Yeah,
something. I don't know.
something. That gold technology is going a long way.
They're using monster cable.
Mhm.
They're not using the little generic stuff that you get. But yeah, so we might as well jump scene by scene, which this is a hard episode. Like this was jumping back and forth all over the place. So
How do you want to do it?
I don't know. We'll try to do like like group by group because you got one the opening
Ahsoka.
scene you can just do because that's this opening scene, but then you got like the Ezra Sabine stuff, you have the Shin and Balin stuff, you have the Ahsoka stuff, you have the Thrawn stuff, but then like you got like then they all
Like,
start overlapping, so it's kind of weird. But I'm gonna try and figure it out. But episode opens up on Coruscant, and Hera is in her hearing with the Senate committee, which we knew was eventually going to happen because she was summoned.
mhm.
And Senator Ziono, it was just a jerk bag.
For real, dude. He's a scrub muffin.
Like,
I watched your reaction. You said that his son's a lot better.
oh, dude, like the funny thing is, so okay, we're getting ahead, but like how Leia sticks it to him, you know. So in Star Wars Resistance, when his son Kaz Ziono is a pilot for the Resistance, if I remember correctly, uh, Leia like appoints him, the pilot, Kaz, his son, to be like on this mission, like, and it's almost like she did it in defiance of her father, like screw you, dad, like because he's still around, like I think you see him briefly
Mm.
as an old guy. So now we know, like, so we know he doesn't get fired or get kicked out, or he's still in the thing
Not technically a bad guy. Either.
25 years later. So like, it would have been really cool if this guy was an Imperial person, but he's like undercover.
It would make more. It would make
Because
sense.
so trying to like direct funds away from trying to find remnants, like that would be really cool. They should have just made a character
And not have it him.
and not have him and just made it like because that would have been I think a more compelling thing where he was like undercover because it would just make sense. But
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Kaz is way cooler. Like he's just a goofball, but like he has the normal like rebel in him where he's trying to do what's good, trying to do what's right. He sees the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Where here his dad is just a jerk. Like,
He's
but
like a
whatever.
political guy.
Yeah, but he's like he just say there's not enough evidence to pursue things. Which yes and no, but the fact that this hyperspace ring and they saw it, and also do they not have dash cam footage on these X-wings and stuff that I can show and like the Jedi fleet or the Republic fleet that saw the whales, like do they not have?
Well, that's the thing is like
Because
the
he's like,
Republic.
how are we going to believe these reports? It sounds like a fairy tale. Well, look at the camera footage, but
Well,
apparently
and
not.
the Republic fleet. Like, why didn't that officer step
Yeah,
in?
all everybody on those ships flying it, like they saw it.
They literally dodge these whales. Like, that's not a thing that happens every day in this galaxy. Like, what do you mean?
Right. So I don't
They're
know.
not
That was kind of
making it
weird,
up.
but um,
But knowing him, he probably didn't want them to talk.
I don't know. Yeah, but like, but it was good that we have reference here to Mandalore season 3, like
That
from
was
season 3 of
cool.
Mando.
That was sweet.
So like I already knew like just because of what some people said this like from production that like takes place after, but is clear confirmation that this took place after
Correct.
season 3 of the Mandalorian,
Mhm.
and so that's cool.
So Mando's just chilling right now
Yeah, he's
with Grogu.
hanging out with Grogu on Navarro.
Mhm.
Um, but Senator Ziono wants Hera to be removed from her position and court-martialed, and everybody's like, "What the heck?" Also, this is just like a minor thing, but in this scene in the back row behind uh, Hera, sitting at one of the desks, I think there's a female Celestian, which is like the pancake face, like Nine Nub. I don't think we've ever seen a female one, and I think it might be a female Celestian. You guys have to go look. Tell me what you think. But because we saw a Celestian on the Senate committee, he was like a he just looked like a old bald guy. It's like you see those guys. It's like I don't know. He's kind of, but I think there's a few because I was like, I don't know what a female alien looks like that I've never seen before, but it looked like it could have been. Also, just different species, but because it was like longer, bigger pancakes. I don't know. I don't know. I just noticed that like when I was watching, but during this back and forth between Hera and all of them, there's a commotion, and it's C-3PO. I was like, dang,
cool.
like I didn't expect that, and also that's cool for Anthony Daniels to like do his character because he thought he was done after episode 9, and here he is. He's doing it again, and C-3PO was sent by Leia, and was like, oh, Leia gave Hera.
I was
permission.
so hoping Leia was gonna be.
I thought it was gonna be a hologram on that.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Thing, because then like it wouldn't have had to have been like
perfectly
like it would just be like a side view, whatever. Like I thought that's what they were gonna do.
It was cool in the way to still give love to Leia without actually showing her. Like it worked so well. Like and like you heard the doors opening in the back. You're like, who the what is? Why is there a door opening? And then you can hear some commotion. I was like, is that C-3PO? And I was like, whoa, it is C-3PO. I was pumped.
I was like, never once have I ever been excited to see C-3PO. Then here, I'm like, awesome. This is cool.
I was like, this is sweet. Why am I so excited to see C-3PO?
He's been in every movie and in Clone Wars and in Rebels.
I was going to say, I kind of was excited to see him in Rogue One in the theaters, I remember. Like
it was
night.
Literally for 3 seconds. Scarif, no one ever tells us anything, and that's all we saw of him and R2D2. But yeah, so apparently trying to understand like the ranks of or political stances of all these people. So Leia is like the head of the Defense Council, I think they said, or something like that. So she should have been in the conversation about what's going on with what Hera and Ahsoka were seeking out. And so the fact that like Xiono said no, like she should have been involved in that decision, and looks like whether she could override or not, the fact is it's on paper that Hera was given permission to go regardless. So she's not at fault.
Yeah.
When there's two different contradictory like directions given by people above her. So obviously this guy Xiono was mad. And he's like, there's nothing he could do because there's evidence on this thing. And what was that line? Like Hera was like, I'm helping the galaxy by disobeying you. And then it goes to Mon Mothma, and she has a little smirk on her face very quickly.
Smiled, dude.
I love that. I love Mon Mothma so much. Like I think
she did so good in this.
I just that little smirk, like it was on like the opposite side of her face, so like, he couldn't see it, but we could see it with the camera. And then she had to quick say something so she wouldn't laugh. I thought that was a great thing that they did. But this meeting is adjourned or whatever you want to call it, and then Mon Mothma goes to Hera, probably like, I know Leia didn't do this, but and Hera's like, well, she eventually did. So I was like, after everything she was told no, that Leia gave permission. So like, Mon Mothma knows.
Remember when that one fighter pilot came in and looked at Hera?
Yeah. So
and he said no. I think that was because I think they were gonna surprise with Leia, and he said no, Leia's not here, but didn't realize.
That's what you think it was? Okay, I was wondering like what.
I
I
think
guess
maybe
that
they
makes
were
sense.
waiting to see if Leia was gonna show up and defend, and then he was like, "No," but then C-3PO came in, so it still worked.
Okay, I guess that makes sense if they were okay. Because I was wondering like what exactly was
Yeah,
he?
like, what was that?
What was he trying to like say is not happening? But that
Mhm.
makes sense. So that's cool. That's cool. Um, but
They must have
Mon
had a conversation on the way there.
right, and so Mon Mothma was like, your feelings aside, which I know you have personal things, and it's like, how big of a threat is this Return of Thrawn? And she just says, prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. And it's like, basically, crap's gonna hit the fan really quick. And so,
And you can see in Mon Mothma's face,
yeah,
like,
she's
she
worried.
instantly got worried.
Like, so I think she's always been on Hera's side, but she
Oh,
just
yeah.
can't overrule people because they don't want a dictatorship.
Yeah.
So,
Only Leia can be the dictator in this situation.
but yeah, so that's the opening scene, which I thought was just a good.
It was really good. I loved it right off the bat. I was like, "Dude, this is a good scene."
Yeah. So, I'm gonna skip the Ahsoka stuff, and we'll go to the Ezra and Sabine thing. And so they're traveling with the Noti on. So I thought these were just like huts that tents
Mm.
that they set up and take down, but they're vehicles that
They're RVs
like RVs. They're basically RVs that look like beans. So
or turtle shells.
turtle shells, whatever, but they kind of look like a kidney bean or something. But yeah, so they're just traveling along, and you find out that Ezra told some information about what happened from Sabine. So he's like, so the Empire lost, and she's like, the Battle of Endor, and then he's like, the Emperor died, and Ahsoka's like, well, Sabine's like, that's
That's a rumor.
the rumor
Or
or
like
the on paper like thing that happened, which is interesting because there was no body in a sense because he fell down a shaft and the thing got blown up. So like,
pretty much allegedly he's dead, but who knows?
right, and then can't remember if there was something else that he asked, but then he asked about Ahsoka last, and she didn't want to say anything. He's like, "Oh, it's not one of those. It's complicated things." And so,
Mhm.
um, yeah, I like I like that scene. I like that's going on. Um, but as they're going along, they see Balin and Shin on the
Horizon.
horizon. And what did I think it was like
Oh,
later on,
he was like, "Are these friends of yours?"
but like later on, he's I think it was when it was just Shin approaching, and Ezra's like, "Who's she?" And he's like, Sabine's like, "She's like you, but without a sense of humor," something like that, which
Mhm,
was kind of
yeah.
funny. So eventually, the bandits with Shin attack, and so the turtles in their shells they just start going fast, trying to run away, but they don't have weapons or anything like that. They just have rocks and slingshots, which I want to say that Ezra showed them how to make slingshots because he had the slingshot thing, the energy
Yep.
slingshot in Rebels, and so I'm
I,
hoping that's what happened.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
But these guys are just basically defenseless. They just have their shell truck things, and rocks and whatever they can throw, and so these bandits attack and Sabine's just shooting with her blasters. Ezra is trying to lead the group around. Um, and I don't know. I thought it was a fun little
Yeah, it was cool. It was
chase
fine.
scene. I like those two turtles that tried to smash the one guys, but they missed. But it would have been funny if
They
they.
missed, and you can see the dent in the vehicle. It was pretty funny.
So that was fun. One of the pot like shell things gets knocked out of commission, and Ezra's like, we can't leave them. We're gonna turn around, and so they all group up around it, and they all set up defensively. They lock up their thing, close all the windows, so that they're protected. And then it's Ezra and Sabine. All right, what do we do? Because Shin approaches. They're surrounded by these bandits, and Sabine's like, "Oh, here's your saber." He's like,
Yep.
"That's not my saber. I don't want it. I don't need it. It's yours. I gave it to you." And it's kind of like, and she's like, "Well, at least take a blaster." Like, no, I don't need that. The Force is my ally. That's all I need. So I thought this whole time that he was gonna do some crazy Force stuff, like I don't know, like in Battlefront 2, one of Anakin's abilities is like Force choke / lift all the enemies at once, and like
Yeah.
I thought that
Yeah,
he was gonna
pick
do
up
something.
bunch of rocks and stuff and just,
Yeah,
like,
like
hit everyone at
Obi-Wan.
the same
Like
time.
I thought he was gonna like go crazy, but
Not like Chai
just
Chi.
he was just like Chirrut Imwe, like
Yeah.
with the ability to force push.
Mhm.
So, but I like the fight. I thought he was. I really liked the choreography of the fights and how he wasn't scared. He wasn't nervous. Like he was still able to perform. And then Sabine is doing her thing, getting shot at and all that jazz.
Yep.
Um, but then eventually, Shin arrives with. I'm trying to think, because she fought 1v1 with Ezra, and then the troopers came, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
the troopers came later.
yeah, so then they're fighting, and so like Shin almost takes off Ezra's head and just grazes his hair.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, dude, like he has some nice hair. Like, what are you messing up his hair
Well,
for?
even he said, he's like, "Oh, you almost got me."
Right, and so he was fighting her without a weapon, which was great. He was just dodging her and like redirecting her momentum and stuff, and then uses the force to push back her blade once, kind of like we saw Rey do
Mhm.
in episode 9. And so that was cool just seeing that again. But then eventually Sabine comes and like hits her away. And then that's when the night troopers come on those gunship things. And so they just get surrounded. There's like 50 of them.
Yep. Or
And
more.
yeah, so then
2 squads worth, whatever a squad is.
yeah, which I feel like there's more people there than could fit on those 2 ships, but whatever.
I don't know, chat. Let us know what's a squad.
Yeah,
Like, what
what's
is?
an imperial squad? Like how many
Mhm.
is in that? But then so they're surrounded, and Shin is about to give the order, or gives the order to kill him, destroy him. But then I think this was a very rebels scene where it's like, wait, and they're stalling. You could take us prisoner. Yeah, you want to take us prisoner, type of thing. It's kind of like stalling for
Yeah.
time. So that's that. And now we're gonna go to
Backwards.
backwards, and we're gonna do some of the Balin Shin stuff. And so
I thought you were gonna do the Ahsoka stuff.
we'll do that last because that's like the main most that happened. So the Balin Shin stuff. So they find Ezra and Sabine at the beginning of the episode, and they regroup with like the bandits. But this was interesting because Balin is like, um, you call Thrawn that we found him, and then you go and kill him, and then you rise in power in the new Imperial thing that comes to be that Thrawn brings. And she's like, huh? And she's like, you're not coming? He's like, your ambition is going to lead you one direction. but I have a different path, and so we're parting ways here, which was interesting. I didn't expect that, but
Yeah.
also thinking about, oh, I guess it makes sense because he has his own agenda, and
Well, and it also seems like it it seemed like she didn't want to do that. Like she didn't want to leave him.
right. Well, this is news to her. Like,
Yeah.
you're a Padawan and he's the master, and she gets just abandoned so easily.
Yep. She's
Um,
no longer a Padawan then? I don't know.
I don't know how that works when you get fired as a Padawan. um, but he said something like one last lesson or piece of advice, whatever it was: impatience with victory will always lead into defeat. So it's like she struggles with being patient,
Yeah.
apparently, which makes sense later on. We'll talk about that. But they part ways, which is interesting. So it's like he's finally at the point where he's about to discover what he's been searching for. And so he's like, now I need to let go of my Padawan because I'm almost there. I don't need her anymore. So
Mhm.
hopefully next week we actually get some information, which I think there's theories out there
Really.
that have to do with the future moving forward. But yeah, Balin is on his own now, and Shin is on her own. So there's that. I guess that leaves us with the Ahsoka stuff. Like we could do Thrawn, but it was just basically he's just directing the stuff from in the ship. But I guess the one thing is, uh,
He's still in control.
he's still in control. But the one scene that sticks out is um, Morgan brings him all the information he asked, and so she's like, "This is all the information on Ahsoka from the Inquisitorius archives, basically." Which is, I was like, that was cool that they have all that
Mhm.
information. So there was a file on Ahsoka, and for the first time ever, I felt like I saw that Thrawn was scared for a second,
Yep.
nervous, because he was reading and then he stops. Like, her master was General Anakin Skywalker. Like, all right, this changes the game. Like, Anakin was unpredictable, so therefore she's going to be unpredictable. We gotta. So let's see. Gakman in the chat says a squad is 10 troopers and a platoon is 5 squads. So a platoon is 50 troopers.
So there was 100 people.
No, there was only two. There must have been only 20 troopers then, because there was only 2 squads.
Oh. Okay.
Which is, I felt like maybe if we counted, maybe it was 20,
Yeah.
but I felt like there was 50. But we'll have to go back and count.
Either way, they handled them way better than they did
Right,
the 5 other guys for sure.
right. And so I really liked Thrawn in that moment having to adjust his plan with that information about Ahsoka's master. So that was cool. I like that, because for those of you who don't know, during the Clone, so in the books, the Thrawn books, like the Imperial era Thrawn books, um, we find out like that Thrawn and Anakin met during the Clone Wars when Thrawn went into the main galaxy part and ran into him, and then they did a mission together. So, and then later on, as an Imperial, worked with Vader, and so
Mhm.
Thrawn is very familiar with Anakin slash Vader,
Yep.
and so then that gives a lot of context and information that he needs to understand Ahsoka, which goes back to the whole legacy thing that everything Anakin was is passed down to Ahsoka, and so he's just accepting that. All right, things have changed because of who Ahsoka is, which is interesting. And like we said,
So
Thrawn looks better than he did in the
yeah,
first
he
episode.
did. And they're almost done loading everything into this
Yes,
spacecraft. Which so is it bodies that they're loading up?
I think it's mostly bodies, but it's
I'm just
also
confused by that because if they're trooper bodies that they're loading up, are they complete? Because they last almost 20 more. You know what I mean? Like
I
they're
I don't know.
like
I think it's
it's such an interesting thing because if it's just bodies that they're loading up, are they gonna go get the other bodies that just died now? Like
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe it's just they know that they can't, so their only choice is to leave. But those other bodies were recoverable in
Hmm.
the past. Plus, I don't know. I'm sure there's other things that they had stored in those catacombs too, but
Hmm.
I don't know if it's
More witch
maybe they
magic
were
stuff.
growing food and they're loading food because they don't have infinite food. Also, someone mentioned it's like, how does the Chimera still have fuel after 11 years or 12 years of being lost? Like, how long can a Star Destroyer last?
Well, they probably weren't flying it that much.
Yeah, but they don't land. So it's like you're
Oh,
always using fuel to like hover somewhere.
well, yeah, I don't know. That is,
But yeah, so
come on, it's Star Wars. Just let it happen.
but
Who knows? Maybe it regenerates. Like I don't know.
yeah, so Thrawn, he's happy that all that stuff is happening out there between Ahsoka, Sabine, Ezra, and the troopers, just because it's buying him time.
The only thing that he was not happy about was that Balin wasn't on the battlefield.
Right, because he was reading the map and he's like, "All right,
We're
we got this in
missing.
the bag. Like we're gonna win." And he's like, "Wait a second, a mercenary is missing. Where is Balin's goal?" I really like that when he
Mhm.
calmly said that, the way Thrawn would say it,
and
and realizing in that moment that his plan failed because it wasn't executed by people properly. So
and also seeing Morgan's face when she was like, "Wait, where is Balin? Like, did he betray me?" Like, there was
yeah,
so much
I
in
feel
her
like
face.
she's gonna die next episode.
I think so
I
too.
think Thrawn's gonna kill her.
Yeah, I don't know. But back to the catacombs. If it is food, you know what could be also in those catacombs?
What's that, Drew?
Coffee. Keep those troopers awake for 12 years.
That is true. It would take a lot of coffee to keep those guys awake
But
for
maybe
that
if they
long.
had a little bit more, they could shoot better. I don't know.
Maybe.
Their
But
focus wasn't that great.
if you are a stormtrooper in need of
Pick
the
me up.
caffeine, pick me up. You're it's your lucky day. I was like, what am I going to say? It's your
You're in
lucky
the right
day.
place.
But so we got our sponsor that we have every episode, Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And here's this little commercial break and how you can get some discounted coffee. So let's take a listen.
Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor of today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. If you don't know anything about Wesley Andrews, you definitely should. They're an award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they make fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is that whether you live in the Twin Cities or not, you can get their coffee beans delivered straight to your door by ordering them online. They even have a subscription service that ensures you never run out of amazing coffee. If you've been looking for some new coffee to try or a way to elevate your normal coffee routine, now's your chance. Head over to wesleyandrews.cc, use the code Empire Radio, that's with a capital E and a capital R with no space at checkout, to get 15% off your first purchase of any bags of coffee or a coffee subscription. I can't think of a better deal. Get 15% off some great coffee, support a small business, and support your favorite Star Wars podcast. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
All right, cool. So we might as well do Ahsoka now. She's the main. She has the most stuff going on in this episode. So, as beginning, after we leave Coruscant and go to her ship while they're in intergalactic hyperspace, she's training. She's doing forms, lightsaber forms, and all that stuff. I was like, this is really cool. Felt very Japanese to me, which
Yeah.
she has this whole entire series. Um, and then you see a hologram projector of Anakin. I was like, I didn't expect that
It was
at
so
all.
cool. It was
And
so
so it's
sweet.
her receiving like a pep talk lessons from Anakin. Just make sure you practice these forms because you're gonna encounter all kinds of enemies, including Grievous, Asajj Ventress, and Count Dooku, which are three very different fighters, and so you have to
Mhm.
know different forms. And so that's really cool. And Hu Yang comes in. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And she's like, yeah, this is one of Anakin's last, or was his last recording for her. And she said there's been at least 20 of them,
Mhm.
which is cool. And if you've watched Rebels, you might remember that she shows Ezra a recording of Anakin teaching something. I think it was just like blocking blaster shots or something like that.
Mhm.
And so that was one of those too. So like we just need a collection of all those lessons from Anakin. Like I just want to see them all. I think as we go. And also, like, how does she have these now? Like,
Well, did you see that box she had?
no.
So when she was putting the stuff away, there was that box on the floor, and she pulled out like a card and she put it in this box, and it had a bunch of different cards on it. I'm pretty sure that was a hologram message,
Right.
and it was like, so she had a whole box full of messages.
But I wonder where she got them though. Because like she didn't keep them on her for the past 30 years.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she found them, or I don't know.
So unless there's like somehow like they were in the Jedi archives on Coruscant and they were still accessible. And when the Empire fell, she was able to like Leia and
Or
Luke
she
were able
took them
to.
when she left. Maybe she took them when she left the Jedi Order the first time.
Well, maybe, but like, where did she keep them?
I don't know.
I want to know these answers. Come on, Dave Filoni. I want these
Just
answers.
go with it. We got
It's probably going to be in a comic books or something.
another Anakin live action in his Clone War suit
Armor.
armor. It was so cool.
Okay.
I loved it.
Yes. So that was cool. And Hu Yang is like, all right, I think we're about to leave hyperspace. She's like, how do you know that? Because my instruments are saying just slowing, the Purrgil are slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
So they prepare for that, but as they go to the cockpit, they get ready, and they exit hyperspace, and they realize right away something is wrong, and you start hearing explosions. I'm like, oh no, this is not good. And so the whale opens his mouth, and they go out, and there's Imperial mines all over, and they're like homing like ones. Like once you get a certain distance, like it tracks you and it goes to you. So all these whales were just getting wrecked, but it seems like none of them died. Like I think,
Yeah, I don't think anyone died.
which is a relief because.
I know.
So I was like, okay, we're gonna see a lot of whales die, but then like after the fact, I was like, dude, if they actually made the show do that, like
There's no way.
PETA and all these
Exactly.
things would freak out.
Whale
Which
Wars would be after Star Wars. Like,
did you watch Whale Wars?
yeah, I used to,
Dude,
dude.
I watched that too.
It was so cool. Like when you're younger, like
Didn't
apparently
you
that guy's
say? Oh wait, did you say you were trying to like?
I applied to go,
Really?
but then you have to be a vegan to do it.
What?
Yeah, because they're all vegans and like soup, and apparently that
Uh,
guy's not the greatest person in the
the
world.
head of the guy,
Yeah,
the head
and
guy.
apparently there's a lot of, I don't know. They do a lot of shady things.
Well, yeah, watch that show. Like, it's
Yeah,
not
it
the
was a really
most.
cool show, but I don't remember why it got canceled, but it got canceled due to that dude doing something shady.
Oh, I don't know.
It's before cancel culture, so I can't imagine what it could have been. But
Right. But yes, Whale Wars was a fun show to watch. But I'm guessing that's the reason why they didn't kill them all, was just
yeah, there's
because.
yeah. When you set up like there's no way
Right.
kill these innocent animals, even though they're
So,
Star Wars aliens, but they're called whales. If they weren't named whales,
Star Whales, yeah.
if they weren't named that, then it would not have the same effect. They're just alien creatures that act like that, but they're literally named star whales. There's no way they can kill them.
Right. And so the Purgo, all right, we're out of here. And they hyperspace the crap out of there
They're like,
right
this
away.
was a dumb thing.
And so then it's just Ahsoka trying to get out of this minefield, which, like, you can see they're just in straight lines. It's like she should have just went straight up and over it rather than going through it. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like when in movies and shows when like a giant boulder is rolling down a hill and then people just run like away from it rather than just taking 2 steps to the side. Like,
Mhm.
it's that same concept, but whatever. You have to make it exciting. And so
Yeah.
they get through, and then the those like, do we even know what they're called? Like those Morgan Elsbeth like mercenary people, like fighters. Like, do we have like thugs, whatever, Morgan thugs that just show up in their
Mercenaries.
whatever they are? They show up and they are in their
Weird guys with
fighters.
masks.
Yeah, they're just fighters, and so like they start chasing Ahsoka, and she's like, "All right, we're going into the pre-field." So you see all these bones and skeletons and all this stuff, and so I was like, "All right." I thought that they were gonna play the asteroid field song from Episode 5.
That would
That
have
would
been
have been way cool.
It felt like that. Like when they landed in like the whale's rib, it was really, really cool.
Right.
But yeah.
And so, like, all right, we're doing this. And it was very chaotic in there. Which I'm surprised that even like Ahsoka, as good as she is, I'm surprised that she was able to navigate through that and not get destroyed, blown up.
Damage.
But
It wasn't that it was just debris field. It was on top of one, it was like a moving debris field, and two, it was foggy.
yeah,
Like it wasn't easy to see at all. Like that one guy was following her super close, and all of a sudden, boom, he hit something, like and died. Like
right,
it wasn't visible really at all.
right. So, but then they land in a certain spot to like hide, and eventually Thrawn tells them to pull back. Because why did he say that again? Just because was that after he found out that Ahsoka's master was Anakin? Can't remember the
Oh, we're
order of
jumping
things.
so much. I don't know. But
Yeah,
they found no. They told him to pull back because they found the location of her. Because they didn't pull back until right before they started shooting her with their ship.
but they were sitting there for a while because then she does the call to Sabine, and it's when they call Sabine,
That's
then it
true.
goes to the the mother's face, like in a fight. Like, oh dang, like jump scare kind of.
Mhm.
So I can't remember, but whatever. So they're just sitting there resting, waiting, trying to figure out what to do. Hu Yang can't scan the planet or anything because of the debris field. So then this is when Ahsoka is like, there's other ways. And so
Sabine.
I really like this scene because
Yeah,
it's very reminiscent of Episode 5. Empire Strikes Back when Luke calls out to Leia, which we had Leia in this episode, and they also like navigating through debris field, like
Dude,
the
yeah, you're
it
right.
was,
It was very,
it was very episode 5, and so I like that. Like, because I
yeah, it
think
was cool.
it's I don't think we ever really saw that other than episode 5. Like, I don't think we saw that in Clone Wars or Rebels or anything with like
We didn't see that in Rebels with Ursula. I thought we did.
I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe between Kanan and Ezra,
Yeah, I feel like
but
that would have been something.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. Either way,
But
it's really cool.
yeah, and Huyang was like, "Are you sure your connection is strong enough?
At
does
that point,
that
you just punch that dude in the face, man.
why?"
Because don't question her. Just let her do her thing.
But like, I wonder. So the connection worked, but like, I
Mhm.
wonder, is that because the question is, how force sensitive is Sabine? And
More and more.
if she isn't force sensitive, does that mean that Ahsoka can still connect with her like that and speak to her
I
through the
think so.
force, or is it she just has just enough in her where it's not enough to do a force push, but enough to hear being like spoken to? I don't know.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's more their connection was so strong between each other that they can talk. Because, like, remember, like, yeah, I mean, Leia's super force sensitive. She just didn't realize it. But it wasn't that. It was that Leia's and Luke's connection was really, really tight and close. And that was before Luke even realized that was his sister.
Right.
And or before he knew that she was force sensitive. So I think it's more if someone has the force,
It's
they're super
easier.
in like connect with the force, they're able to connect to someone that they're very close to.
Right.
So but it does make me think that maybe she is more force sensitive than we think she is.
Okay.
Or even that she thinks she is.
Right.
And
So
like she didn't Ahsoka didn't call out to Ezra because she didn't know for sure if she was next to Ezra, like if Ezra's even there, you know.
right. Right. That is true.
So 'cause she could have easily just connected to Ezra if it was the Force, but I don't think it's. I think it's more just who you're connected to.
Right.
So,
So
Will in the chat, hi Jar Jar, lol. Like, well, you connected to Jar Jar? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
I think it's the person
Above
comments
it? Oh,
Misa behind you.
oh, okay. Now I get it. Never mind.
But so while Ahsoka is doing this, trying to speak or find Sabine, Thrawn called in the Night Sister mothers to find her in a debris field. So like they had their magic ball things with the lasers, and they made a triangle, and they were able to. So I think I have a feeling that Ahsoka's use of the Force made it easier for them to find, because when Ahsoka and Sabine made a connection, like it cuts
Yeah.
right to the head mother's face. Like, oh, like it was like
Well, that was so scary too,
that
dude.
was a good cut. I like that
It was like
they did
creepy
that.
as heck.
That
Cause like you're
was
seeing Sabine and them, and Sabine's like, oh, I can feel her or whatever. And then all of a sudden, bam, there's black eyes in your face. It was like, oh shoot. It like took me back a little bit.
yeah. So that was cool. And then the laser things, they coordinate the triangle into like one little thing, and there she is. And so then the hyperspace ring with all its turbo blaster things, turbo laser, whatever, they just start firing. And I'm like, I didn't realize how strong those things were. They were just
Mm-hmm.
punching through that debris. And it's like, all right, gotta get out of here. And she gets out, um, makes her way to the planet. But that was exciting. Um, and so Ahsoka gets down. They're flying through, and she's like, all right. And then she sees the pods where Ahsoka or where Sabine and Ezra are, and so he's like, circle around, and she's like, all right, I gotta go join them. He's like, we can't land. It's Jedi protocol. Like, gosh dang it.
Because they were getting attacked by those ships still.
Right. They're being chased by the fighters again. And so he's like, we don't have to land. And he's like, not this again. And so then she jumps out.
He's like, yeah, but don't miss this time.
Yeah. And so she jumps out. And I didn't really like the animation on her landing.
Oh, really?
It looked kind of janky. Which also earlier in the episode, I thought I saw weird animation where, like, there's a scene when like Balin on the horse dog thing like goes up to the top of the hill, and then the Shin and the bandits come behind him. I'm pretty sure Balin was CGI, but everybody else was real. So they changed that scene later on.
Added it later.
So I don't know if that has to do something with
him not.
Like everything was filmed, but I wonder if somehow they changed the story around a little bit to like alter the ending next week. I don't know.
Maybe he was just too skinny to be on.
I don't know.
He wasn't skinny enough.
Or maybe he was just too big for a horse because that guy is a big guy.
Yeah.
But that is whatever. So she lands, she runs up a hill, and Balin is standing there.
It looks like PS1 graphics. Okay, guys. That's a little harsh. Have you seen PS1 lately?
PS1's pretty rough.
It's pretty rough.
It's so funny though. It's like every generation of video games, like, this is the best, the most amazing graphics ever. Like, I can't believe
I literally thought about that today because I was like watching this guy play the Starfield. It's like the new open worlds game or whatever. And they're like, oh, these graphics are so sweet. I'm like, we say that every year, dude. Like,
I know.
Every year.
Well, I will say though that I played Final Fantasy VIII on PlayStation 1, 4 discs.
Yeah, I
and
remember.
The cutscenes on that PlayStation 1 game, they're pretty good. Like, even
had some slappers.
If you go on YouTube and look up Final Fantasy VIII cutscenes, you'd be surprised at how like those cutscenes were better than like some PlayStation 3 like gameplay like stuff. Like, it was way better. But anyway, enough of that. Balin and Ahsoka see each other, and he's like, "Oh, this was a surprise." And she says something like, "Are you disappointed or something?" He's like, "No, however, I can't let you interfere with what's going on here." Since we don't know what he's looking for, it's weird because, like, what does Ezra and Sabine, all that stuff going down there, have to do with him finding his thing? Like, he could just say, "All right, you can go help them. I got my own path to go on. Just leave me alone."
That's why I think. I think that he was wanting his Padawan to die, and he went there to get Ezra to be his new Padawan.
I don't know about that. Like I said earlier, I wouldn't doubt if Ezra is what he's looking for, but I don't think to have a Padawan, because it's something like to bring rebirth, something about to end the cycle of powers rising and falling, like go back to the beginning. Like,
what else could it be? Just
I don't know. We'll have to get. We'll get to theories later, but like, anyway, Ahsoka and Balin start dueling. Ahsoka's dueling with 2 sabers, and I like this fight. I think it was. You could see the choreography better than you could in episode 4 when they first fought. But they're 2 completely different fights, especially since in the first one Ahsoka had 1 saber, and the second one she had 2 or used 2, and so I like that. But then at the end, Balin catches one of her hands, like, "You can't defeat me," and she's like, "Perhaps not but I don't have to. And then that's when Hu Yang, who's been circling around, comes and shoots like flares
Yeah.
things or whatever, and that disrupts the fight. And those, so then
Ahsoka is able to
steals his
run.
steals his howler.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dang, he just took his ride like that. So now he has to walk everywhere. Um,
Or force
but
one.
yep. And so Ahsoka leaves to make her way to Ezra and Sabine. So this is where now we're going back. Sabine and Ezra are surrounded by the troopers, and Ezra's like, so like prisoners, like you gotta make us prisoners, take us in. And then Shin is like, fire. And it's like a force pushes a group of troopers down and comes in on the dog and jumps off and lands and smiles at Shin like, gotcha. Like, what are you gonna do? And so then chaos erupts. This might be the madness that the title was described as. This madness ensued, and Ahsoka just easily
Handles it.
took care of Shin. Like, didn't even use her saber. Just like
Mhm.
blocking and this then force pushed her away type of thing, like super easily. Um, so then Ezra's fighting and Sabine's fighting. They're all just fighting, and yeah, it was like a rebels thing.
Yeah.
Where I guess mentioned earlier, Ezra grabs a blaster out of a trooper's hand that's holding it still and like kills one guy and then takes it out and starts killing people. Like I'm like, I think I've seen Ezra literally do that in Rebels. So I was like, I've seen this before. This is fun. I like this. And so so they're fighting, blah blah blah. But then this is when Thrawn is talking about they're almost done loading up,
Yep.
and he gives a signal, a call back to
He
troopers
said
to
the
retreat.
one we lost, but the one thing that they forgot about is time.
Yeah. So Ahsoka doesn't have time, but we have time. And but he makes a comment. I think it was at this scene. He was like, "Oh, they're fighting like the Jedi of old," like,
Mm-hmm.
which I wonder what that means. But like maybe it's just because there's so few of them and they're able to win.
Yep.
That like maybe that's just whereas the Jedi during the Clone
Clone Wars.
Wars, like they all got killed by like 10 clone troopers that were with them at a time or something, like where they got overwhelmed by 10, but here they weren't overwhelmed. So I don't know. And so I like that they had like this little like probe droid type thing or whatever. Like when that left, that's when all the troopers looked up and
Yep.
saw it leave. I thought that was cool. So they load up and they get out of there, but then it says Shin there. And Ahsoka's like, hand me your weapon. And Shin is just staring, trying to think what to do. And then Ahsoka's like, reaches out, like, I can help you.
Mm-hmm.
And she thinks about it and then runs. But I really, really want Shin to become Ahsoka's Padawan. I think that I didn't even think about that before, but I really, 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 really want that now because
I think
one, with Balin's last lesson, criticizes her for being impatient, which Ahsoka, in Clone Wars, that was one of her things. She was very impatient, and she had to learn patience. And then also with the whole legacy thing, like Ahsoka has the legacy of war being passed on to her, but Anakin's lesson to her was like, you can break that legacy and you can choose to live and not be part of that war and destruction. And Shin has the same thing where she's been doing evil things and killing people, and that she's part of Balin's legacy, but she can relearn and establish a new legacy with Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think they have similar stories and like enough overlap of like things that they struggle with and have to do, which I think eventually Shin is going to become Ahsoka's.
I think Shin dies. Because she never has patience.
I don't know. It's like, why would they write that in the show where she's like, I can help you, if Ahsoka's not going to help her someday?
I don't think it's not Ahsoka didn't want to help her. I think she still chose to not get help, even though her master literally just gave
No,
up on her.
I get that, but I'm saying, why would the writers have Ahsoka make that offer if
As
that
payback.
offer wasn't going to come up again in the future?
Oh, I see.
Why would this is a throwaway thing?
That's
Like,
true.
she could have said, like, you can surrender, like, and we'll just take you in. But like, it was like, I can help you, which was not a surrender. It was like, like, I can be a new master for you, which I like. I hope it happens.
The chat. There's only one writer, and he wears a cowboy hat.
That is true. You get that Black Series cowboy hat, Drew?
If it was real. Actually, no, I wouldn't. But it was.
You could just order that hat online.
I know,
Like,
right?
it'd probably be cheaper than a Black Series hat. Anyway,
If you guys don't know what Jeremiah's talking about, someone made a Black Series helmet. Not helmet, a cowboy hat, but in a Black Series helmet box.
yeah, and it had
It
like
was
Dave
Dave
Filoni's face
Filoni's
on it.
pictures on it, like it was real. It was really funny.
So Shin runs off, and it's just three of them just standing there. And then Sabine turns and looks at Ahsoka like, Ahsoka. And then Ahsoka turns and looks. And then they're like, finally real. Like, now they're back together. They can like actually acknowledge each other rather than just fight in the moment because they're in danger. And she's like, I thought you were dead or whatever. Well, she might have said that after she hugs Ezra first time, but
Yeah, she's like,
she's
"You
like,
think I would miss this reunion?"
yeah, and she turns and goes to Ezra and gives him a hug. I'm like, I love this scene. Like, this is great. Like, I like this. There was a good, like, acting on Rosario's part to,
Mhm.
like, just the way she was happy in the moment. Like, I felt like it was real
Yeah,
and it was meaningful. Like you said earlier, like, this is what Sabine's first meeting should have been similar to, or closer to at least.
yeah.
Like, I still think this would have been a letdown if it was what we got last week, but it was still better than what we got last week. And so, also, okay, this is me being attentive to details, but when Ezra hugged Ahsoka, like, his arm like squeezes like the back head tail, and I think like that prosthetic is like hollow in the middle because like he hugged it and it flattened out, which
Oh,
I
yeah.
just thought it was like.
Oh no, they're definitely hollow because they have to be light.
Right. But I was like, this whole time I was like thinking like, oh, it's kind of like those giant gummy worms, they're like solid gummy worms. They're like 2 feet long.
No,
I
it's
thought it
like
was like that where it's just like
hollow.
solid gel. But I'm like, that would be like 20 pounds on her head,
Yeah,
which you can't do.
because remember that's why they didn't make them even longer because
Right.
it
They're
would it was
heavy and
too
it would have gotten in the way trying to fight.
heavy. Mhm.
But yeah. And so then they were just happy. I'm like, this group is getting bigger. First it was just Sabine, then it was Sabine and Ezra. Now Ahsoka's there, and I feel like I'm hoping next week, like, they all return to the galaxy. Those three go to Hera, so then they're with Hera, and then they
Well,
call in Zeb.
I was gonna say the thing is, when uh, Ezra and Sabine were talking about like when they won and that there's a new republic, the thing that we didn't mention was the role of Hera, but then they also talk about the role of Zeb. They
Yep,
mentioned
he's
Zeb's name.
training recruits.
No,
I
he's
think.
training pilots.
Well, I think it's like new recruit pilots,
Mm,
which I don't remember Zeb being a
that good of
pilot
a
per
pilot.
se. Like, even though we got him in Mando in the pilot
Mhm.
bar, but it's just like I didn't really remember him being like a pilot guy. But
But which like makes me think like if there is a situation where Hera like has to come fight, I think that's when we potentially would see Zeb with his crew fighting in space.
Right.
which would make a lot of sense because then the animation for Zeb would only be the top half of his body, not his whole body.
Right.
Because him walking around would be super expensive. Because even when we saw him at the pilot bar, it was only his torso, like
Right.
stomach up, essentially.
But I'm really hoping next episode, the whole Rebels crew gathers together, minus Kanan, R.I.P. But
True.
I just want to see them all together. Have Chopper there, Zeb, Hera, get everybody there, and it would be like almost like a live action version of the painting of the crew, like them reunited again with Ahsoka there, but also them like realizing, all right, we got to fight Thrawn again.
Because somehow they get there. Like Sabine, Ezra, and Ahsoka. I mean, I guess we're assuming, but somehow they get off the planet. But also Thrawn and them get off the planet. Like they're not gonna let they're Thrawn's still getting off the planet somehow and going back to the other galaxy. Like that's not gonna not happen.
Right. So the
This
question
is a
is though,
movie
like
at the end
how
of the day.
the question is though is how is Hera or Sabine, Ahsoka, and Ezra gonna get back? And
Yeah.
so, are they gonna use whales again? Like,
I don't know. That's
because
the
like
question.
Ezra could call the whales like he did before.
Yeah.
But like,
They
is
know the
there?
whales know that they're back there. I don't know. But if the thing is, if Ezra, the only thing about that would kind of put me away from it is like, why wouldn't he just call the whales to come pick him up?
Well, I think it's just because there's no way for him to get up to the whales.
Oh,
That's why because I thought that before, but like I think it's just because they can't get too low. Maybe more, if they get too low, they'll just drop out of the sky.
or like they can't get too low because they can't. Maybe they can't breathe the atmosphere that well or something.
Maybe so.
Oxygen.
So who knows? But this is where we can get into like theory stuff.
I
Right,
don't even think they can land. That
so one, the easy thing is somehow they sneak onto the Chimera, and when it hooks up to the hyperspace ring, they just go
right
back
on.
like that. Like
Yeah.
so, there's that. Some people are saying maybe there's some sort of temple on this planet that they could go to, that they could enter the world between worlds again, and they can just, because we talked about maybe that's how Ahsoka is going to get to the other galaxy, was to the world between worlds, but they could do this here.
The biggest thing is Ahsoka's ship
Right.
and Hu Yang. Like they're not gonna just leave Hu Yang in the ship at this other galaxy.
Right.
So my guess is the whales come back.
Maybe.
Or they didn't go too far when they got blown up. Like they just went on the other side of the planet, the other side of the galaxy. Then as soon as they fly away, then the whales pick them up and they land, and all the New Republic ships go and try to attack them. And then we see Hera and Zeb, and they realize this is a real threat, and somehow Thrawn and them still escape.
Yeah. But like next week, we're definitely going to get what?
I was gonna say, I love that we are like kind of just like throwing this out there and we think that's what's gonna happen. But then the biggest thing is, what are we doing with Balin? Like, what is
Well,
Balin?
yeah, that's what I was going to get to. Like, because they have to reveal next week what he's searching for, what's
They
calling
don't,
him.
and he's dead. Like he passed away in real life. So it's like, what is it?
So
gonna
it's
do?
like Andrew was saying last night in Discord that what he discovers or finds is going to be like the bigger threat that everyone's going to have to team up with Thrawn to fight against. Which, if that's true, I hope it's the Grisk. Like, it has to be the Grisks. Like, somehow these Grisks are an ancient civilization that we're on this planet or something, and they've made that trip to our galaxy also somehow, and they're in lesser space or not lesser space, the unknown regions where the Chisensi is, like all that stuff. Um, like it has to be, like we've been saying, like it has to be the Gris because all the story. We got 6 books, Thrawn books about the Gris. Like it has to be.
I just don't think we're getting the Gris.
Maybe not in this episode, but it has to eventually. Like if they don't, like it'll be stupid.
I just don't think that's part of Dave's plan.
I think Dave is smart enough to know what the canon of Thrawn is, though.
I'm not saying he's not. I just don't think like maybe for the movie.
Well, they're not just gonna
Whatever you're
change.
playing with, Jeremiah, is kind of distracting me.
So, like,
yeah, I don't.
They have to set up the Gris before the movie. They can't just.
That's true.
Like, they're not just gonna have all these random
It's not
stories
just
and then
this.
do something
Like,
new.
we're gonna get another season of Mando.
Yeah, but we don't know when that's gonna be. It's
gonna be before the movie.
I don't know. Like,
isn't the movie supposed to tie everything? And they mentioned
it's supposed to end everything, but like,
yeah,
we don't have other. We don't know Mando season 4. We don't know Ahsoka season 2. Book of Boba Fett. We don't know. Like we have Skeleton Crew that's during the same time, but we don't know when that's going to be.
And I don't know if we're gonna get Ahsoka season 2, if not maybe like Sabine season 1 or something like. Like
Yeah,
I don't know if it's gonna be Ahsoka. Because at this point, it's still like barely Ahsoka show. Like, it's like Rebels. So like, I don't know.
Because once Thrawn returns, that's when everything is going to start to snowball. So it's like
yeah, and fast. It's not like a wait around kind of situation,
right. And so I hope next week when Thrawn returns, somehow he's able to tap into some Imperial radio signal and get all that
he's gonna
council.
wake up the neighborhood for sure.
Like I really want to see Thrawn return and him find everybody. Like I want to see that next week.
Mm-hmm.
But like so much has to happen next week. Like I hope it's a long episode, another hour episode. But I don't know. Like there's so much that they need to do in one episode, and I just don't know how they're gonna do it.
Well, and that's why I don't know if we'll get Gris because of that. Like that is so much buildup that there's so much to do. But that's also why I keep saying that I think we're gonna get a 3 movie because the Ahsoka show alone is almost 4 hours long. Like
Right.
it is so long, and how are they gonna do that in a 2-hour movie? Wrap this up? Like it don't make any sense to me.
Well, because they have all these shows to do the setup for it.
But the thing is, not every. I know we keep having this argument, but like I just don't know how they are expecting newer audience to go see another Star Wars movie if they haven't seen these shows. Like not everyone has seen these shows.
Yeah, and not everyone has seen Rebels, and they're watching Ahsoka.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. But there's also a lot of time that we built in the show to build these characters, and I just want to. I just don't know how they're gonna build that in a movie that quickly.
I don't think they have to because they're using all the shows to set it up. So like I think if you only watch the Mandoverse shows, it's gonna be enough to enjoy the movie. But now, like, because they with all this stuff, like all these shows, all the references to the animated shows, Rebels and Clone Wars, like with Mando, Boba Fett, and Ahsoka, like people are still watching them without the Clone Wars, but they still understand the Mandoverse stuff enough to get what's going on. And so, like, when you
I
have,
just don't know how they're gonna do that if they want to make the money that they want to make. In theory.
I think that Disney is. I think they're just doing it differently than they do with other stuff. Where the Star Wars cinematic universe is the movies and the shows.
Yeah.
And if you want to understand it, you got to watch everything. Like, I think they're willing to do that. And like, obviously, they're making money with the shows because they keep pushing them out. So it's like they're making money now, and so it's like they're probably gonna make their money from the shows more than they are from the movie.
I don't know about that. Because that, like, financially, that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, but you got millions and millions of people. Like, so this is when it was the first episode was the 23rd. So to watch this show live, you're paying 3 months of subscription per account. So like for each account, you're getting what is a month now? Or
Dude, I don't pay
so
for it.
I do a year, but like if people are just doing it for like just to watch Star Wars, so it was it's like $19 a month or $15 a month. They're making more money per account than they do for a ticket, and so there times every show, like you're making
That's one person.
right.
I guess, yeah.
Not everyone has one account for 30 families like in your family.
A lot of people share accounts.
They do, but I don't think it's as much as. And plus, doesn't Disney? No, that's Netflix. Never mind.
Well, that's Netflix. And even theirs is not really that good because we still haven't got flagged yet. Don't tell Netflix. If you're
Oh.
watching Netflix, sponsor us instead. Okay,
That's
chill.
not gonna happen.
Chill. Give us a code.
So
Breakdown.
I think that
I don't know. It just wouldn't surprise me if they're like, oh, this is part 1 of 3 movies.
But then it's like, if they do 3 movies, then that would mean that they're not going to do stuff between the movies with shows.
Yeah.
So it's like you put all this stuff in with all the shows. You watch the first movie, then you got to wait 2 years to watch the second movie, and another 2. Like, that's stupid.
Or if Skeleton
Crew
will like fill some gaps from characters that we don't like, that aren't, I don't know. But I think as soon as these movies come out, like that movie comes out, I don't think we're getting these people again.
Well, right.
So like they can just do the one movie and it's a 3-part movie with these characters and start a new thing, the High Republic stuff. Because they're gonna have to pivot with different shows, and it's gonna be High Republic. I think is the next pivot that they're gonna start pushing.
Well, we've been saying we thought they were going to do that by now, and they haven't. So,
well, they're slow.
So
like they're saying a movie,
but it's like
it could also not
if
be.
they do it, but if 2026 is the Thrawn movie, that means the third movie wouldn't be till 2030, and they're not going to wait till after 2030 to start a whole new era of Star Wars.
No, but they can do the High Republic in the meantime.
I don't know.
Like, there's other Star Wars stuff they could do. They could do Maul. Like, there's stuff they could do.
I think they're gonna do. They're focusing on like the Rey movie, the Jedi Origins movie. Like they're gonna do those movies.
I just don't understand why we don't have a Thrawn show or a Maul show. It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Because they are making a story for the whole picture, not just a fan favorite. We're just gonna make a show about a character. It has to be.
Oh, we're getting a movie about half the people don't even want it.
Huh?
We're getting a Rey movie. Like, why? Like, give us some Maul stuff.
Because there's an entire generation of people where that's their Star Wars. People
I get that, but I'm
so that's why they're doing it. They're.
It would make a lot of money if they did a Maul show. I'm just saying.
I disagree. They're going to make way more money catering to the sequel trilogy generation moving forward than they are pandering to us old guys. They're going to be dead in like 10 years. Like,
we're not going to be dead in 10 years. Chill.
I might be. I don't know about you, but like,
fix your back.
That's not going to happen.
10 years. That's aggressive. You're going to be 40. Chill out.
I'll be a lot older than 40.
Oh, wait, 44?
Yeah,
It's not a lot.
that's old, dude. 30 is the new 40, so that means 44 is like the new like 60. So
I don't think that's how math works.
pretty close. But I don't think there's gonna be 3 movies. I think they would have said it.
No, they wouldn't.
Why?
Why would they say it? Like they
Why
don't
wouldn't
need to
they?
tell us that yet.
Why wouldn't they? What would be the negative thing about doing that?
The chances of it not coming to fruition, just how there's other movies that have been canceled.
So
in
you
the
think
past.
they're gonna make all these shows and promise a movie and then like, oh, it was a flop. We're not gonna
Well,
finish the
wouldn't that be
story.
a great surprise of the next Star Wars celebration in Japan? Oh, by the way, it's not just one movie; it's 3.
Well, if they're gonna do a surprise thing, they're not gonna do it before the movie comes out. It's gonna be
The movie's not coming out. I mean, for
It's-
sure, it's not coming out then now because of the writer's strike. They're like set back like a whole year. Everything's set back a whole year.
we'll just plan on 2026 still. But like,
I'm not. I'm planning on 2027.
okay,
And
but
who even knows
the
then?
point is, if they're going to surprise us with it being a trilogy, we're not going to learn that until the first movie ends on a cliffhanger. Because why would they spoil
That's
it?
true. That's true.
It's just stupid.
they've
Like they're
spoiled
not
stuff
going
in
to make
the past.
surprise movies like that. That's not going to.
If anything, they shouldn't have surprised us that they're gonna make a movie.
Why?
If you want to base on that, because the show would be intense. Like this finale next episode, like who knows what's going on next? What are we gonna do? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it a Thrawn show next? Is it all that stuff? Like, if they wanted like to do that, they would have just done that.
I don't understand.
I think it's gonna be like Dune. We didn't even know it was a Dune part 1 of 2 until we saw the first.
That's
thing.
not true.
Yes, dude, it was not announced.
I knew that before.
Did you watch it as soon as it got dropped?
I think so. I think I watched it opening weekend.
So many people didn't realize that until they saw it right away.
Because there wasn't a lot of advertisement for that movie. Like it was.
Oh, it was everywhere. What do you mean?
I don't remember ever there being. I remember the trailer came out, but like I don't remember it was.
Oh, I remember there's a lot of advertisement.
Because that was what 2021 still, so like people were still. Because that was like on HBO and in theaters.
Yeah,
and most people watched it on HBO. And it's like I don't.
I remember that they didn't really announce it until the next day because they weren't even confirmed that there was actually gonna get the funding for a part 2 until the next day.
But everyone knew that they couldn't tell the whole story in one movie.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's possible for. I'm just saying, I still think that there's gonna be 3 movies.
Okay, I don't get it, but I guess we'll have to agree to disagree.
Because if you want to talk about the grist, they can't figure that out in an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Okay, I know. That's why I'm saying all these shows are going to reveal it.
I don't, but
Like that's
We're not
what
gonna
the whole
go
point of the
into-
show is. If they're just going to make a Thrawn movie just for the fun of it, then they'll just do that. But like the whole point of the shows is to set up a finale in a movie.
so so we know for sure that there is Mando season 4.
We don't know that for sure.
I thought we got confirmed that.
There's no confirmation on that. All we heard was Jon Favreau say that Mando season 3 is the middle of the story, but that could be in the middle of the Mandoverse story, which is everything, or it could mean that there's 5 seasons of Mando, but we don't know. Nothing has been announced. I think Jon Favreau might have mentioned something about maybe like working on season 4, but I guess it's not even like it's not going to be here anytime soon. It's still probably 2 years away, if I had to guess.
But it still has to come out before the movie.
Right, if there is a season.
Yeah, so if there is a season, and this is my thing, if Skeleton Crew is supposed to be alongside Ahsoka at the same time, right? It's not
Yes.
after Ahsoka, it's at the same time.
Well, we don't really know. It's during the Mandoverse stuff.
Okay, so it could be after. But then if that's the case, then season 4 could be around the same time too. During all this. and it could end at the same exact scene that we're gonna get at the end of this next episode,
Okay.
and then a movie, right? Because they could do even a Sabine show if they wanted to around the same time, and then it'll all end at that same point, which would be a movie. And the only way to tell a good movie is to have 3 movies.
Okay. Okay. Are you saying that you think that I believe that there's nothing between no shows between Ahsoka and the movie?
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
No, I never said that.
That's why I just asked you, and you said, "Yeah."
Then I misunderstood what you meant because I never said that. There's going to be more shows to set
I
up the
don't think.
movie.
Oh, okay.
The Mandoverse is going to send up. The Mandoverse is all the shows: Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and anything else that we get that lead up to the movie.
Yes.
So they're going to set up. If they do the grist, it's not just end of this next week and then we get a movie. No, there's going to be all kinds of other.
Well,
If there's a Mando season 4, if there's other shows that they release, it's going to set up the grist for the movie.
If you're saying the movie's coming out in 3 years,
That's what we're assuming. We don't know. It could. They said 2 movies in 2026 and then a movie in 2027. But then you're saying that it's going to be delayed a year.
but that's not by their choice. Like they couldn't.
I know, but so I'm saying there's going to be 2+ years that they're going to release more shows where they're going to be introducing the conflict with Thrawn for the movie.
But let's just like take apart between season 2 and 3 of Mando. How many years was that?
I think when we were saying like 1.5 to 2 years.
Okay. So that would almost be right at the movie.
All right, are you talking about the production of the show or in canon show? What did you mean?
I'm saying production of the show.
That was...
Wasn't it almost 2 years?
It was over 2 years.
Yeah. So if you think of it like that,
but they were doing other
like
stuff.
how are they going to drop 2 shows? Because we haven't got any announcement besides Skeleton Crew. That's the only announcement that's in this Mandoverse before the movie that we know of.
Right. But
so if they haven't announced anything yet.
But at the end of season 2 of Mando, they surprised us with the Book of Boba Fett. So we could get a post-credit scene with this one announcing another show.
You're not wrong.
And so I don't think that because there was 2 years between Mando season 2 and 3 that means we're not going to get another show from after Ahsoka for 2 years. It's because they introduced other shows. They did Andor. They did the Book of Boba Fett between. They did
and
other
that's
stuff.
The thing is like they're going to do, but they're also doing Andor, and they're doing High Republic and Skeleton. Like there's shows that they're going to be showing that doesn't involve this timeline.
Right.
So I really do think if we get another show before the movie, it's going to be along the same timeline as this Ahsoka's thing. Because we know that from this episode, we know that before all this happened, season 3 ended. Like this isn't along the same time as season 3. Like season 3 ended, and then all these events from the Ahsoka show is happening.
Yeah.
From this episode, we know that's a fact, right?
Yeah.
So if we get a season 4, we don't like that could literally be along the same timeline of him, and then at the end of the season 4 is when these events happen.
Maybe.
So I'm just saying, I think if we do get any more shows besides Skeleton Crew, I don't know why that's so hard for me to say, Skeleton, but if we get any more shows in between this, I really think that it's going to lead up to the same event.
Well, right.
And that's why I think we're going to get 3 movies. Because I don't think one movie is going to fill this gap. Like if you guys are saying the grist is coming, I don't think we're going to get any more evidence of the grist until this next episode, and I don't think we're gonna get any more grist up until the movie.
Right, but I don't agree.
That's fine.
That's the whole point. Is there's going to be more shows between
I just
Ahsoka?
don't think so.
Okay, like I don't.
The chat's hearing me. I'm just saying.
But I just don't understand why. I just don't. It
I don't
doesn't
understand why you don't think we'll get 3 movies. Like, why is that so unbelievable to think about?
because they literally said
That
that the
doesn't mean
Thrawn
anything.
movie ends the Mandoverse story. That's what they said.
But it doesn't mean it's one movie though.
Yeah, a movie to end it. They didn't say a trilogy. They didn't say no. Like it's one movie to end the story. That's what they said.
Well, I lost on both sides. I'm just here. I don't know. I know what they said, but that doesn't mean they want more money. And and I think having another Star Wars trilogy would make more sense.
I don't. Okay, like I don't get it.
In 3 years, we'll recap this whole conversation and we'll see who's
Well, we've been
right.
arguing about this for the past whole
And we're
season.
going to argue about that until we know for sure that there's only one movie. In my mind, we don't know for sure.
I'm saying you're just hoping. I'm saying I'm just going based off of what Dave
You're going
Filoni
based
said.
off of what they said in that panel. Yes.
So I'm like, I'm not going to think
in my
anything
mind,
else unless they say something.
In my mind, I still don't think that if they want to bring new people to the movie theaters, new kids and stuff like that have not seen all these shows, there's no way they can tell a story in an hour and a half to 2 hours the same way they can through these shows. And if they want to get more people in the seats in the theaters to make a lot of money, it makes sense to have a 3-part movie. And if the grist is as powerful as the books are saying, it might take 3 movies to beat them.
Right. But
Like
I said, I don't think
in one movie.
I don't think that Disney. Like I said, Disney's like, if you want to understand Star Wars, you have to watch everything. Like, they're not gonna like lower the standard of writing so that they can just make it accessible to. It is because
capturing a new audience.
No, because what you're saying is to watch that trilogy, you don't have to watch any of the Mandoverse stuff. That means they're lowering the standard.
No, I'm saying that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if they want to be able to get more people in the seats to go see a new Star Wars movie in the theater, they have to be able to tell that story without them seeing it.
So that means that you have to watch those. That you can watch those movies without watching the shows. Therefore, when they write those movies, it's going to be a large disconnect between the movies and the shows in order to do that.
I don't think so.
Well, how is there not going to be a disconnect then? Because if you're saying
there's going to be disconnect, I just think they're going to have to recap a little bit. And I'm saying that.
Well, then that's even worse writing. That's if the movies are full of recap.
It's not full recap. They can do it. There's ways to go around it. I'm just saying, like, we know that people have stopped watching these shows.
How do we know
that for a fact. We know I mean, we've been doing breakdowns of these shows forever, and we can see that everyone is not still buckled into this show. They're not. People are buckled into the Mando shows, but they're not buckled into all these. After Book of Boba Fett, the same captive audience that are in the Mando verse and the Mando shows are not watching Ahsoka necessarily.
Okay.
Therefore, if they want to make money off of this movie, they have to figure out how to captivate everyone into it.
I know that's what you said, but I'm saying in order to do that, you have to have a disconnect from the shows. Because if the story is dependent on knowledge from the shows, then like anyone who goes to the movies is going to be confused.
Yes and no. Well, but I don't know. That's why I think there's going to be 3 movies, because I think it's going to flow it better. And I just don't think a 3-hour movie is enough. That's what I'm just trying to say. That because at that point, I would rather not have a movie and just get another show that wraps this up.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, if it's gonna be just a 3-hour movie, I would rather have a 5-hour show instead.
Well, no, right. I have said on the podcast I wish we never get that we never get a movie ever again because I'd rather have shows. Like I don't care about movies.
Yeah.
I'd rather only have shows. But
Mhm.
but the difference between you and I in this whole debate is that you don't think there's going to be any more shows between Ahsoka and the movie.
I didn't say that.
You
I just,
did.
I just don't think they're gonna lead after this event that we're about to happen.
I'm saying
Doesn't
for the
mean
Mandoverse, you don't think that there's going to be any stories between Ahsoka and the movie.
I'm
And
just
I
saying
say there's going to be multiple Mandoverse seasons.
I just don't see how that would match with their timeline for this movie to drop. If this is supposed to wrap everything and it's supposed to come out in 3 years, how are we gonna get more than one show in 3 years? Like, I'm just saying the time doesn't really add up to me.
Well, it's been 2.5 years since the Book of Boba came out, and that's 3 shows. And we were supposed to get Skeleton Crew this fall, so that would have been 4 shows in less than 3 years. So like they can do that, but
Yeah,
because of the
but
writer's strike and all that stuff,
which and they might just push the movie back.
which they probably will, because
They probably will because, like we talked about this before, I think the podcast, but the writer strike is done. The actor strike's not. So they're still not working on anything.
right.
The writers can go back to work today, but it doesn't mean that the actors or the actors thing. They're saying I was like listening to the news last night, and they're saying that they're hopeful that their actor strike can be finalized and done by the end of this week too, and then they'll start actually filming shows and stuff again, like after Thanksgiving. So it's not, but it's still like what, almost 7 months lost since the strike started because
It's been that long?
the strike's already been 5 months.
5 months, really?
Yeah, it ended a 5-month strike yesterday or today.
I didn't realize it was that long.
I know I didn't even realize it either. So
That's weird.
yeah, so that's why it's just like I don't know. That's the thing is like most things might get pushed back or canceled completely due to the new. They have to pay people now. Like
Yeah, like how do you pay people when they're not producing anything? Like it's
exactly like it's gonna. They might have to end up canceling certain things due to that. So I don't know.
I'm sure there's a lot of shows that are gonna get canceled.
Yeah, especially like those smaller
Like how did shows like that run during like a normal like fall through spring, like how do those go now? Because those start filming like in the summer and they film throughout the season. So it's
oh
like
they're not gonna be on.
so there's like no shows this for the next 6 months, like or this whole season of fall and spring.
Yeah, it's a lot of recaps. Like I mean, you even think like Tonight shows and stuff have been canceled.
Oh, they have. I didn't even.
Yeah, all the Tonight shows and stuff because those are writers that help produce that. They've all been canceled. So a lot of those like Tonight Show people, like Jimmy Fallon and stuff, they just started podcasts,
Oh,
and they have
I didn't even know. I haven't
yeah.
followed that stuff in a long time. So
So like a lot of like Saturday Night Live, it hasn't been a thing.
Saturday Night Live, they could actually start up just because they write new stuff every
Well,
week.
and
So
that's the thing is like a lot of those like the Tonight Show and stuff. I think they started already today, like
right,
because it's just they're not actors. It's just
right.
written stuff. But it's just the acting stuff. They're still on strike, and then they're saying November is when they're gonna get back into it. So I don't know.
In conclusion, I think
We
there's
have
going to be
no
one movie with other shows leading up. Drew thinks
out. There's gonna be 3 movies. I still think there'll be other shows, but I think it'll all tie in. And I still don't know if the grist is gonna happen.
It has to. It has to.
I wanted to. I'm not saying I really do. I just
It would be. I'd be really upset if they don't.
yeah.
It would be stupid.
But it would make sense because if this whole thing is happening with the Empire and the Grist all this time, it would make sense why the New Republic wouldn't see the First Order developing.
Right. That would make sense.
That'd make a lot of sense because the First Order could be underneath their noses the whole time developing. Why they're in battle with the Grist.
Yeah, because they've hinted at the First Order. Like even like in season 1, I think of Mando, like the Carson Teva said like there's something going on out there, or whatever, or maybe that was season 2. I can't remember. But like, he's like there's something going on out there, and he's aware of it. He's connecting dots, but like he can't. People who are seeing it aren't going to follow it because Thrawn returns and does something separate.
Yep.
So
Well, that's a fun debate.
Yeah. The View Twist just joined, and he just missed that whole argument.
Well,
so
go listen to the podcast.
I was like, we're gonna get done early tonight. We're gonna be under 2 hours, and then we went on a 20-minute argument. But
this episode was fun.
It was fun. It was fun, but like I said, it was not as deep as I thought it was gonna be. Because I thought it was gonna be like The Mandalorian season 1, where like those last 2 episodes were like back to back, like one story, and I was like, they're both super intense.
Honestly, haven't got that since Mando season 1.
Yeah.
Like Mando season 3, kind of
those the spies, and we were all like, the armorer is the spy, and then we were wrong. Like there was that. So then so season 3 of Mando was like a little bit, but season 1 of Mando, those last 2 episodes were.
Dude, season 1 of Mando still is probably the best, bro.
I don't know, maybe.
This show though, unlike season 3 of Mando, I feel like there's not a lot of sleepers in this show. Like compared to Boba Fett, and like this show's so good.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like how I like Ahsoka, like in comparison to the other seasons of stuff. It's hard because like there's
forget about Andor. That's all you have to do.
Someday when they like finish TV shows and like there's like a break, we gotta do a ranking. But like how are we ever gonna do a show ranking when they keep making shows? Like I just don't know.
After this movie, we can rank the Mandoverse.
But if they're doing like other shows like that are like High Republic, because we're getting an Acolyte sometime next year, hopefully. Like
the High Republic's a little separate though.
Right. But like in 20, 30 years when we're still doing the podcast, if we're still alive, there'll be like 50 movies, and we'll have to do a 50 movie ranking, and you'll still probably have The Last Jedi as 50 on the bottom. Wouldn't that be funny? Like if that 50 years from now, that's still your bottom one.
I just don't think. I don't know how they would top that. I don't know how Disney could top that one.
I don't know, that Rey movie. If they screw the Rey movie up, that might be really bad.
True.
Like either it's gonna be really good or it's gonna be really bad.
Yeah.
But
in our opinion, there's new people that are gonna love that movie.
Yeah.
If we get the Mando movie in 3 years, I'm just not gonna take Miles to the theater until that movie comes out. That'll be the first movie that he'll ever see in theaters.
Dude, he's not gonna understand anything going on.
No, by then he'll be
5, 6?
6, yeah. He could watch.
He's not gonna understand anything.
I don't know. He's pretty smart.
I could barely understand The Lion King when I was 6. I was like so scared, like when the stampede happened, and
that's scary, dude. Mufasa died. Spoilers.
Spoiler.
Go watch The Lion King.
I feel like you should just wait till Miles is like 8 years old to like show him, just so when he's 8 years old he can understand the shows enough and enjoy it, follow the plot. Before 8 years old, I feel like Sorry to any 7-year-olds listening, but I don't know if you can understand
I don't know.
enough of the story to.
I think 7 is a new 8 right now.
7 is a new 8. All right. All right. Well, we've been rambling way too long, like normal, but let's transition over to voicemail time.
It's voicemail time.
All right. Cool. Well, we have 3 voicemails tonight. First one from someone we've heard from the last 2 weeks, I believe, Shedrick. So let's take a listen.
Hey guys, sorry about that. Hey guys, Shadrick. I just thought of a good topic, maybe like top 5s or whatever you guys can maybe do. I don't know if you guys done it yet, but I was just listening to another podcast and it made me think of asking you guys this. But maybe like top 5 entrances for villains, or like for example like Maul when they first introduced Maul, or when Palpatine was like. Just like top 5 best villain introductions in Star Wars. I think you guys should do that. I think that'd be a pretty good one. But yeah, you guys have a good one.
All right, cool.
I like that idea.
First of all, why are you listening to other podcasts? It better not be another Star Wars. If it's a different genre thing, fine. But if it's a Star Wars podcast, what are you doing?
Give them a bad review right now and give us a bad one. Just kidding.
But villain entrances, like that's a hard one to do. I guess how do you gauge an entry? Like Vader, is that episode 3 when he gets a suit on when you first see him rise up, or is it Rogue One when we see him talk to Krennic? Is it episode 4 when he enters Leia's ship? Like, how do you like measure like that? Like with like Maul, like
it's gotta be probably like the first movie. That's the first time we've ever seen him.
So Vader's would be episode 4.
Yeah, probably.
But what if you watch chronologically? For like you've only watched it chronologically, that'd be episode 3. So it's hard.
Either way, no, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good.
Spoilers.
Hey, the view twist. Back to what we were talking about before. He watched the first movie he's ever seen in theaters, which I'm really jealous of this. Was Empire Strikes Back. No, Return of the Jedi, sorry. And he was 4 years old. And he said it was one of the best memories. And he was 4.
Oh, but what does he say there? I didn't really understand the plot at the time, but I remember the experience.
That's what I'm trying to get for him, Miles.
Okay.
Like, not necessarily to know what's really going on, but to be like, dude, your first movie was the Thrawn Star Wars movie that is a trilogy, and it's the best trilogy of all Star Wars.
Your kid will be like, I was there when Jeremiah lost $100 at Drew on a bet because it ended on a cliffhanger for another movie. We're going to have to make like a substantial bet. Like I almost want
quarters this time.
Huh?
2 quarters.
No, I'm thinking like a big bet, like one of those giant Lego sets that are like $650 or something.
Oh Lord!
I want that Republic Cruiser one. I want that one. And put that together, 6,000
Let me
pieces.
think about that because I would love to have all the Tatooine pieces.
So. The town one.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of on like 2,000 pieces or something like that, or is it bigger than that?
It's bigger than. I think it might be. It's a little bigger than that, but it's only like $300.
$300.
But that's only for that. There's other like miniature sets that you can put in the same Tatooine. So I can get up to $700. What I'm saying, or 600 or whatever. Maybe we'll do that.
We'll have to.
Let me see how this next episode ends. Have a conversation.
It'll be funny if like they, rather than like a preview for next show, like they announce after this. Yeah, there's gonna be 3 movies, and like we won't be able to do the bet.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Shedrick, that'd be an interesting. We'd have to figure out. We would have to put up like guidelines and rules for that if we were to rank that.
Yeah, but then you also gotta we gotta see if Balin's a bad guy too.
Yeah.
So there's because his interest was pretty cool when we first saw him in episode 1.
Oh, when he gets on the ship and kills
Yeah.
everybody with Shin.
And he's like, I'm no Jedi. Like, that was pretty dope. Not gonna lie. So if he's a real bad guy, he could be up there a little bit. But I do like that concept. I think that's really cool. But yes, we have done top 5s before, if you don't know.
But our schedule has already been planned through the year, so if that ever happens, it's next year. So, but we're always looking for top 5s because those are always
they're fun,
quicker. But it's like it has to be like something like people want to do. Like people want us to do like top 5 Clone Wars arcs. So I'm like, dang, I have to like watch the whole entire show again just to.
I still want to break down maybe like the last season of Rebels or something. If we get enough,
that is a shorter season. It's only 12 episodes.
If we get a long enough hiatus to break down Rebels season, that might be something. Just the last season, Rebels. Because we did the last season Clone Wars, last season Rebels.
Well, Clone Wars we watched live on the Clone Wars Save podcast. Go find them.
That podcast. Could be live still, I think.
But speaking of Clone Wars Save, you know who found us through that? Lucy. And she happens to be our next voicemail. Look at that. All full circle ties in together. And this is a unique voicemail from Lucy. So let's take a listen.
Hey everyone, it's Lucy. It's been a really long time since I sent in a voicemail. This is my first unscripted voicemail because I am really short on time this morning. But I have a friend at school who unfortunately is not a Star Wars fan. It's okay, we like him anyway. But his main question is, how do lightsabers work? He doesn't understand the concept of the blade stopping a few feet from the hilt without any, he just doesn't understand how the blade works at all. He thinks about this a lot, complains about it. He just also does not understand just any of the hype or any of the wonderful things about Star Wars. And I think he's seen at least one Star Wars movie, but he has no intention of watching any more. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on how we can change his mind. So thanks. Have an awesome day.
All right. Thank you, Lucy.
That's sad.
And even though that wasn't scripted, it was very smooth.
Also, are we sure we want to be friends with?
No, we gotta be a light to the darkness and
that's true.
Bring people in. So, is this a new friend, Lucy?
It sounds like it.
Because I know you just entered high school, so maybe it's a new friend you're making. But we'll get to your lightsaber thing. But you also asked,
I don't know the lightsaber thing.
What we can do to convince him to get into Star Wars. Well, one, I think you could start strong if he hasn't seen Rogue One.
I was gonna say
get him into Rogue One. But
there's not a lot of lightsabers to distract him.
Right. But you could also do there's compilations on YouTube of Clone Wars is a kid's show, but it's compilations of the worst evil war stuff. That would be a fun montage to do. You could I don't know. It's hard because if it's hard to get someone to like something if they aren't interested in it in the first place.
But if they're good friends and they like you enough, Lucy's a very strong, stern person, independent woman. So I think if they're close enough to you and they become your friend enough, you can convince them otherwise.
Yeah, I think what you gotta do is convince them.
Rogue One's a good start.
Good start, but also if you can convince them to just watch episodes 1 through 9 and Rogue One, you can skip Solo because I would say if you're gonna watch Solo, watch Clone Wars first. That's just what I always tell people, just because of.
I say watch 1 through 6. What's Rogue One?
Just
Just
I
because,
watch the movies. Like,
yeah, but I think
watch the
Rogue One's a
movies.
good start, and if they enjoyed that without the lightsabers, maybe push them towards Endor. Maybe push them towards that show a little bit.
Or
Get
Andor,
them.
yeah. Well, what you
Yeah,
could do, start with Andor,
that's a lot though.
but you don't need to know anything else about Star Wars. And
True.
it's gonna be like it's the best live action show we got.
There's no lightsabers in that.
No lightsabers. It's very in depth. So like if your friend likes like a slower pace, like spy espionage stuff,
Yeah,
you could get him hooked with that, and then you'll be like, well,
and then give them the movie, and then give them episode 4, and then it's only uphill from there.
yeah. So there's a lot, but I think if you can convince them to watch the movies, that'd be good. But you could start with Andor too. Um, yeah, and you asked about lightsabers, Drew. So I looked this up, but what do you think? How do lightsabers work? Where it just like stops
The
and
4.
doesn't? So what do you that this the Force?
I don't know. Kyber crystal's not strong enough to go past a certain point.
So I googled this, and the answer that I got is from Wikipedia, but it's from the Legends section on lightsabers, not the canon one. So this could still be true. So I'm going to read this from the website from Wikipedia. But there's still like interpretation of what exactly it means by it too. So, but
course
it
there
says on Wikipedia, lightsabers legend sections, the weapon consists of a blade of pure plasma emitted from the hilt and suspended in a force containment field. The field contained the immense heat of the plasma, protecting the wielder and allowed the blade to keep its shape. So the key phrase here is suspended in a force containment field. So I don't know if that means the force is containing it, like you kind of mentioned, the force is doing it, or like the
Oh, that wouldn't make
Jedi,
sense because if people use it without the force,
right? But or like the
force field that the kyber crystal creates.
something like that, or the hilt itself creates a containment field that like may like radio waves, I don't know, whatever thing that keep it from sticking out. So it's kind of like as they say, a force containment field, which they have to say it so they don't say force field.
Well, okay, so if you think of Kylo's right sleeper, his kyber crystal was so strong that it literally he had to have vents for the sides for it to go out.
Well, it was a cracked kyber crystal,
Yeah.
and
So
so it wasn't.
I'm thinking it's literally like the kyber crystal can only go so far.
Well, if
If
this
it's a
legends thing
small,
isn't true,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
so there's that. But like if
They didn't
the
mention kyber crystal in the legends thing. That's kind of interesting.
well, this is just two sentences from a whole
Oh,
1,000-page thing. But I liked if what this is saying is true. I think it's the lightsaber hilt creates a
force
force
field
containment field that
that
holds it
only
all
lets
in
it go.
place.
Yeah.
And so, and because it says the field contained the immense heat, so you wouldn't feel the heat from the
Mhm.
blade. It protecting the wielder and allowed the blade to keep its shape. And so,
And by them saying Wilder also confirms that it's not the force.
right.
So
So
yeah, I
it's
think it's a hilt. Hilt
so
limits its range and contains the kyber crystal.
right. And if you think about it, the laser from the Death Star keeps going. It just goes until it hits its target. So it doesn't have the containment field that Saber
Mhm.
does. So if you didn't have the containment field, yes, it would just go infinitely, and then you just be waving it around and kill all planets and people around you for forever. So hopefully, Lucy, that answers your question and is enough to satisfy your friend's confusion. But keep poking at him, making him someday he'll turn to the light, hopefully. Or you could just show him the VCU. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, it's good to hear from you, Lucy.
Yep. Keep sending them in.
Keep sending them in.
We miss you.
Yeah. So, last one up. Last voicemail is from our good friend and new friend, Garrett.
Oh.
Our favorite pod racer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, cool.
Woohoo! What's up, Empire Radio? It's Garrett. Live from Mos Espa, celebrating my 3rd victory of the season. I figured I'd bring my favorite podcast along. Speaking of favorites, what's one of your favorite TV shows other than a Star Wars show? Mine would have to be Wayne on Amazon Prime. Oh, gotta go. Champagne time!
Champagne. Ooh.
Oh, so he's won his 3rd race, pod race. Oh, look at that.
This season.
Yeah,
He
so
must be force sensitive.
maybe.
Or is he alien species?
No, what if Garrett, or I don't know if this pod racer's name is Garrett or not, but maybe he's Anakin's father. You don't have a button for that? Oh gosh. You never know. Maybe in your
Force created Anakin.
That's what Shmi said, but maybe she's lying.
Yeah.
Maybe Garrett is this washed up old pod racer that she was too ashamed to be like, oh, he was my husband, and I don't want any associations. Oh, the Force made it happen.
Is Garrett in the chat right now? They said, I'm the Force. My name is Force. LOL.
Yep, there he goes. We figured it out. Shmi and Garrett. All right. Well, his question though was our favorite shows outside of Star Wars. Well, one, Stranger Things is my favorite TV show of all time.
Really? I thought you were going to say Cobra Kai.
No, I wasn't. But then also Cobra Kai is really good. Even though last season was not season. There's been 5 seasons.
I don't remember, but yeah, the last one wasn't that.
Last one was there was really good stuff, but then it was kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
But so there's gonna be one more season eventually.
I think it was season 5, so I think this is season 6.
Yeah, season 6 will be the last one, but I don't think they've done any production on it. So, trying to think what other shows I've watched.
Oh, you like The Last of Us?
The Last of Us is really good. Breaking Bad is really good.
Never seen it.
You never seen Breaking Bad, bro?
I couldn't. I think I've seen up to like season 2, but I just couldn't get past that.
Bro, dude.
I know. Everyone says it's the best show ever.
Bryan Cranston is so good.
It's the best show on television. I understand that. I just haven't done it.
Back in the day, Heroes, season 1.
Oh,
Season 1 of Heroes was one of the best first seasons out there.
Jess loves Heroes. He has like all the seasons.
Like that show like progressively got worse. And season 2 was fine, I guess, but like season 1.
Were you a Smallville guy?
No, I'd never seen an episode of Smallville.
Good.
But yeah, what other shows do you like, Drew?
Stranger Things is definitely up there. Last of Us was really good too. I really like that. Cobra Kai is definitely up there for me too. The first 4 seasons were some of the coolest, funnest television. I love Cobra Kai. But I think my number one show right now. Well, okay, no, I like Sons of Anarchy. It's a really good show. It's adult though, just so you guys know. Like,
most of our shows that we're
actually all very adulty. Sons of Anarchy, I really enjoyed that show. All the seasons were really, really good. And also I really enjoy, I think my number one show though right now, besides Star Wars stuff, it has to be Yellowstone. I think it's my favorite show right now.
Never
It's
watched
amazing.
it. I have no desire.
It's just some of the best television of all time.
Of all time, dang.
Of all time. I think Yellowstone is my favorite, actually.
Of all time?
I think so. It's definitely
Bro.
dude, it's so good, bro. I mean, it's so good.
Better than Andor, dude?
I said outside of Star Wars.
I said of all time, and you said...
no, I don't know. Star Wars has a different relationship with me, though. I don't think
what does that mean?
like, it's different. Like, I don't rank things compared to Star Wars. Because I'll love it even if it's trash.
Even episode 8?
No, but like, I would even go watch, like... I would go watch Bad Batch episode, what was that?
4, season 2, episode 4.
Yes, I'll go watch that. Like, I don't know, like, it's different. Star Wars is a different relationship with me. Like, I'll defend Star Wars literally until I die, except for episode 8. But Yellowstone is just all around a really good show. Last season, like, I'm literally waiting for them to finish this last season. It's so good, dude. And all the spin-off shows are really good too.
They have spin-off shows too?
Yeah, there's two currently short, like, shows.
Dang.
And the last one had Harrison Ford as one of the main characters.
Wow, dang.
It was really good. But they're all very adulty. I'm not telling you guys to necessarily go watch it.
Kids, keep watching your PGs.
Yeah,
and
keep watching
your
Star Wars.
13s.
Drama, action, comedy, it's all, yep, you're right. It's so good.
Don't forget Big Bang Theory if you're looking for a comedy.
True. Okay, see, then that's like a whole other thing. Like Big Bang Theory, New Girl, out of like those kind of shows, I think it's probably New Girl, The Office, Friends, How I Met Your Mother, Big Bang Theory. Like New Girl, I love New Girl. Have you seen New Girl?
No.
I think you would like New Girl. I think you would love it. No,
I've seen clips. I'm like, this is just...
Dude, it's so good.
I don't think I can get into Zoe.
No, you can. Trust me, you can.
No.
I'm telling you, Jeremiah.
What streaming is there? What streaming service says that's CBS?
No, it was on Netflix for the longest.
But it was a CBS show though.
I don't know. I think so. Or ABC.
That would be. So
I think it's on Peacock right now.
But isn't Peacock NBC?
So maybe it's it was on Fox.
Fox?
Is it on Hulu?
I don't know, dude. There's too many shows to watch.
It was on Fox. Let me see.
Anyway, while you're looking that up, thank you, Garrett, for that voicemail. But we'll go over some socials and we'll get out of here. So in the description below,
it's on Hulu. It's on Hulu.
In the description below, there is a links.co/Empire Radio, links with 2 I's. And that is our landing page for everything: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, our fan email. If you want to send us an email, a link for the Discord, join the Discord. Yeah. There's also a link to leave a voicemail. So if you want to send us a voicemail, never have, please do. And also the link for the needlesslynerdy.com entertainment network that we're part of. So if you like nerdy content of all kinds, go check them out. And I think that's everything. But yeah, so
get involved if you haven't got involved, essentially.
Yeah, so moving forward, next week is the finale of Ahsoka. And then after that, we have a bunch of stuff planned. We got some interviews planned. We got some top 5s planned. We may or may not have an Ewoks episode planned. And then we have an exciting EU with Andrew for a Halloween special.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
So there's a lot of content we got planned out through the first year. And then after the first year, might have some books, do some book reviews and stuff. Drew will be gone for 2 weeks. So maybe we'll have some other content that comes out.
Or pre-recordings.
We'll figure something out. But anything else, Drew? Any final predictions? Anything else?
No,
All right.
we already
Well,
spent an hour on debating if there's
yeah,
three
we
movies
should have
again.
been done 45 minutes ago, but
That's entirely next week's gonna be a long one too. Buckle up.
oh yeah,
'cause
because
Andrew's back,
Andrews
and it's a finale. Predictions. I
might
could
be
be
a 4-hour
right.
podcast.
Yeah, buckle up, you guys. Buckle up. A twofer.
I might need to do part 1 and 2. Do in 3 parts.
Maybe we'll do a 3-part. The voicemail part. The other. Send your voicemails for next week too. What you guys think this finale is gonna be?
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, you've been listening to another Ahsoka-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I am Jeremiah,
I'm Drew.
and may the Force be with you.
Always.